You keep arguing to prove you're right. But every time you win, you lose influence. That's the real problem. Because arguments don't change people, they harden them. Notice what happens in your body during a debate. Your jaw tightens, your chest heats up, your breathing turns sharp, shallow, like you're preparing for impact. This isn't about truth anymore. This is about survival. You think you're defending logic. Your nervous system thinks you're defending status. And the moment the other person feels attacked, even subtly, their brain shuts its doors. Not because they're stupid, not because they hate you, but because the human brain protects identity the way it protects oxygen. You cannot reason someone out of a position they're emotionally fused with. Yet we keep trying. We believe if we just explain better, if we stock enough evidence, if we speak louder, sharper, faster, they'll surrender. But arguments are like pushing against a locked door. The harder you shove, the more the hinges brace. Psychology has a name for this reaction: ego defense. When beliefs are challenged, the brain activates the same regions associated with physical threat. It doesn't feel like disagreement, it feels like danger. So what do people do under threat? They don't open, they fortify. This is why arguments rarely create change. They create resistance. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most arguments are not about being right. They're about being seen as competent, respected, not dismissed. There's an old hunger underneath the debate, the hunger to matter. And arguing feels like power. But it's counterfeit power. Real power is quieter. Real power doesn't need to dominate the conversation. It shifts behavior. If you want influence, stop arguing. Start embodying. People are persuaded less by words and more by patterns. You don't convince someone to value discipline by lecturing them about discipline. You live it, relentlessly, consistently, until your results speak in a language they cannot debate. You don't argue someone into respecting boundaries. You enforce them calmly, repeatedly, without performance. Action bypasses ego. Because action doesn't attack identity, it creates evidence. And evidence, when undeniable, dissolves resistance. Think about the people who've changed your mind in life. Was it the loudest voice? Or was it the one who simply lived differently and let time prove the point? Arguments create friction. Embodied behavior creates gravity. Gravity doesn't chase, it pulls. That's the shift. When someone disagrees with you, you have two options: protect your ego or protect your energy. One drains you, the other builds you. Winning an argument gives you a spike of dopamine. Winning through action gives you leverage, and leverage compounds. This doesn't mean silence, it means precision. Speak when necessary, act consistently, detach from the urge to force agreement. Because the strongest position is the one that doesn't need validation. When you argue, you enter their frame. When you act, you build your own. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to win debates, you start winning influence. So next time you feel the heat rise in your chest, the impulse to correct, to dominate, to prove, pause. Ask yourself, do I want to be right now or respected long term? Because one feeds the ego, the other builds the future. Win through actions. Let arguments exhaust themselves. Time always sides with proof.